had to wait 24 hours. Hello, YouTube. Welcome. Universal Language. Today we're going to be discussing a book by Kayla Smith called Turned Out. It's not what you think it is. We're going to talk about it. Let's get this camera.
The title will make personal.
I know you want to know all about it. She's about to join me on camera. And I'm going to start with the dirt. Make sure you follow me on all social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you follow the Universal Language Global page as well. I'm going to get you a match. Get the book, get the book, get the book. Right. Is this one already started? Okay. Are you gonna sign in here so I can do the
It ain't no password.
Okay.
Pull up YouTube.
Is it an app? Go to J. Cole?
Go to the yeah. Just pull up YouTube.
Gotta get my levels together.
Say something.
Hello, welcome.
Look at this.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello. How I know I'm doing it? I mean, that I'm good.
It gotta be up to the top. With this speaker.
Okay.
Say something.
Say something. Say something. Twerk something. Cardi B said, if your man cheat on you, then you need to trick him into a menage with a tranny.
What the fuck?
I don't think he gonna fuck with you after that. Somebody gonna die.
Play a song right quick. Is it playing?
Ooh.
Let me try to kill it.
No, it was up there. That's nice. See? Hold on, how do I know which one is for? You said it's the Whisper is on YouTube. We live. We've been live for 3
YouTube
minutes.
right now?
Yeah, because I gotta build this.
Oh, they getting the behind the scenes?
Yeah. Y'all
Okay.
can see all this flyness. You feel me?
Yeah. They play right quick.
And this recording is happening at those studios.
Shout out Dundee coming here fucking with everything.
Dundee, what it do? Ooh, Dundee, throw, ooh. The petty gang got my homegirl pissed off, but she gon' bounce back. I'ma get her on. What's the problem? She gon' say, man, they was talking so bad about me.
You lying.
Oh my God, this beat is all the way up there. But I really didn't like that spread he did. Why did they make him do that? They trying to,
Who they right there?
huh?
They.
No, the GQ with the slacks, the big
I
wireless.
ain't seen it.
You did?
Say something on your mic.
Hey, hello. Thursday night.
Keep talking.
Okay,
So you
no
see,
problem.
you want your meter kind
To
of.
hit all the way.
So that's good.
My voice is not the hit loud.
See, with the music,
Oh, it balanced out.
it kind of be low. You're gonna be talking to the top now.
Okay. So it's gonna help it.
Keep talking.
She needs to do a mic check too. Okay. I knew that was a good one. That's a good level.
Keep talking.
I almost sound like Beyonce. How about the new Diana Ross? Hey, I'm just saying. You never know. Talk now.
Keep talking.
Keep talking.
Say something on your mic.
Hold up. Shout out Pimp C, R.I.P. to a real one. Underground Kings for life. It's gonna be forever. Yeah.
Say something.
Yeah. Oh, our level sound good too. And I gotta put these on, right? Ooh. Okay. Hello? Okay.
Talk.
Okay.
Talk a little loud.
Hold up. Talk a little louder.
Talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Here we go, y'all. Here we go.
Say something.
Say some, bitch. Shout out to Pimp C. YouTube, y'all heard that? Next time we won't include y'all in all this, but welcome. Get ready, it's gonna be a hell of a show.
Beautiful.
Huh?
You turn them on when you're ready.
What, from up here?
Yeah.
Okay. We got to, okay. I need to find a beat. Just a free beat. Is that what you said to look at?
Yeah, you just typing like J. Cole type beat, Lil Baby type beat, or whatever. Glad we dude said, test. And nigga said, you gonna test the mic to death, ain't you?
Okay, let's see. To a nice little
Good
R&B
grammar and
type
spelling
beat.
are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire, messages that forge brighter connections, and emails
No, man. I guess this will work.
We gonna go to the next beat unless you turn
What?
it. Yeah.
It's not on.
You gonna go to the next beat. If you wanted to go to the next beat, leave it on.
Oh no, we can just keep
You
rocking with
repeat
this
it. Yeah,
one.
yeah. Alright, is the camera what you want?
Can we bring this one forward a little bit? The laptop?
Yeah, you can bring it. You can move the camera over there.
No, I mean like.
Oh.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how. I probably need to get like a stand or something for my tablet.
For this right here.
Yeah.
Yes, they sell them. Somebody say you can position.
But this is showing me.
You gotta push it
But
back.
we don't want to be in here like we all hugged up and shit. Okay, then.
Nah.
Oh, I can't see that. That's gangster.
It's a real underground.
Okay, yeah, we can
Put on that Google page. Hold on, let me see something.
go to Chrome.
Yeah, go to Chrome. And whenever you get ready, then you can go live. Make sure this is what you want on there. Oh, put in
have a title. This is
Universal
not
language.
enough title?
No, that's the caption.
Wait, this is on the wrong page.
What is it on? Real on the ground?
Yeah, because
Oh.
it's your laptop.
Yeah.
And it's all your admin pages. Share on a page you manage. Oh my god, I did not know how to scroll. Mom, you slow. Plug in your laptop because your battery going dead. You on 8%.
It's your charge, remember?
Yeah.
So.
You want to put it on this one right here? Hey, if that would have came up on the underground, everybody would have been like, "What the fuck going on?"
Too much show.
It's happening right now. Dang, I always. Do you drink? I should have got some liquor, huh?
I had some tequila before I came. I went and had margaritas with my friend.
Okay. Cause I asked them the last time. But none of them drank, and I said I need to stop asking my guests if they want drinks, because obviously I sound like an alkie. Because they was like, I don't drink. I don't drink. Ooh, y'all don't drink. Why? What's wrong with drinks?
I can drink.
Should be straight.
Okay. No, I can't deal with this slow shit. It makes me feel kind of sleepy. Okay, that's cool right there. Alright, we gonna go live. Do I need to connect first?
Connect what?
It says connect. Or just go on and go live.
Just hit go live whenever you get ready.
Alright. Hello, welcome to another episode of Universal Language. It's Unfiltered with the skirt with the dirt you already know. Oh, thank you, engineer. Alright, we live now. Kayla Smith is here, author Kayla Smith is here to talk about her book, Turns Out.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Yes, y'all see the book? Listen,
Hey.
I met Kayla at an event. There were several topics going on. I was there to discuss domestic violence, and she was there to talk about human trafficking and some domestic violence, perhaps, and yeah, among other things, and just life in general, things that can happen that you least expect to happen. So I'm so happy that you decided to join me today.
Thank you.
And get in depth with the book.
Yeah.
She told me she has not had a conversation about this book yet. So honey, we talking tonight.
Yes.
Okay, first before we get started, where can everybody find the book?
I have it on hand and then on Amazon and Kindle. If you get it on Kindle, it's free. Amazon, you have to pay $13.99. On hand, it's $15, and that's fine. You know.
The autographs.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what prompted you? What made you want to write this book?
You know, I just kept up experiencing things that most people wouldn't go through in a lifetime, and I kept surviving it. And it was just different things. Like, I'm a veteran. I served in war, like, when I was 19.
You went to which war?
I went to Iraq when I was 19. I was in the Army. So I did 4.5 years. So, you know, just stuff like that that you don't normally go through as a 19-year-old, you
Right.
know. And then, you know, being a single parent and then going through like a married life and having a husband, like those are two separate lives at a young age, you know.
Yeah, well, slow down because we're going to take this step
So-
by step. All right, so all of those things inspired you to write this book called Turned Out.
Right.
Nothing you describe sounds turned out.
Yeah.
It's
no.
like, you know, people choose to go to the Army, or they go to college, or they go to cosmetology school, you know.
But they're turned out to those lifestyles.
You
get what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
interesting.
You're in the radio industry, so you're turned out to this lifestyle. This is what you know. It's your background.
I'm sprung on it. I ain't gonna lie, but yeah, you know, I do love what I do. Getting to the book, I got the book from you at an event that we both spoke at,
Right.
and I was like, wow, you know, I'm gonna read this book. As soon as I get an off day, I'm gonna read this book. So it took me a minute, and I finally did. I read it in a day, in about a day.
Right.
Yeah. So I called you. I was like, Kayla, I read your book. He was like, you read my book? I'm like, yeah, I read your book, girl. It was definitely something that I did not expect. Even from the beginning. Yeah, I got my inserts because, you know, this is a conversation. It has to do with the internet and how powerful the internet is. We all have social media.
Yes.
And you came in contact with a person who definitely changed your life,
Yeah.
lifestyle, mentality.
How to think, how to move, how I breathe.
Right. So how was that? Let's just start from the DM. Like, how was that conversation so strong that, you know, it convinced you to move your family?
Right. I think at that time, like, you know, I was going through a divorce, so I was just at a really vulnerable state, and me and my husband at the time were like really young. We were 19, 20.
Wow, that
We
is
had
young.
2 kids, so we were just trying to do the right thing as parents. And when he left, it just kind of broke me down. So when he reached out to me or whatever, it was like, you know, just somebody I can confide in and tell my story to. And like, he didn't judge me. It was, you know.
I was just about to ask you, with you guys not really knowing each other, did you feel like you were in a no judgment zone? Like
Right,
you could just be transparent?
Right.
But, you know,
It initially transitioned into something more like where we talked, you know, consistently, constantly, even though we were away from each other.
right, because you two were in 2 different states.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So, like, just with the conversation alone and you building up a trust
Mhm.
in this person, what sort of things was he telling you? I mean, you were telling him about the divorce
Mhm.
and all of that. You had the girls.
Right.
And, I mean, was he someone you felt like he could be a provider, or?
There were certain things that he told me that I found out later on to not be true, that, you know, that just pretty much made me like I wouldn't have to be responsible for everything, which
You would
was
have
what I
some
was
help.
used to. Yeah, well, I would have help, and it would be a whole different ball game than me being a single parent raising 2 kids.
So basically, he
Um,
promised you a relationship.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
Pretty much, and that's how he lured me in, and it was more so like he made me comfortable with the fact that he had female friends, and that was something that was really hard for me as a woman to deal with because all the men I had dealt with had cheated. So dealing with a man who made it okay to have female friends was
Talking about
just
she's just a
feeding,
friend.
feeding stuff in.
Right.
So just piece by piece, you know, in just such a vulnerable state, you just kind of find peace and try to confide with whoever.
Gosh, that must have
Yeah.
been a hell of a divorce. Because I am, like, just me personally, it's so hard for me to open up even with people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I can only imagine what was going through your mind and then being so young
Right.
at that time. All right, so you decided that everything was kosher. We about to go.
Right.
He's promising me this.
It
this
was like
is my
a
man.
really rational decision. Like he came and visited me for a couple days.
So you guys hung out,
Yeah.
dated.
Right.
For how long?
Like we talked. It was from like September to December. Is initially when I moved was in December. So we talked for a couple months before I actually saw him. I saw him in November, and around Thanksgiving he came to visit, and then right after that is when I moved. So it was like a week's time from the time I met him and actually physically saw him.
So was it like love at first sight, since you had been already talking to him and been anticipating I gotta meet him?
Yeah.
And then when you saw him, it was just like kind of like a head over heels kind of thing, because September to December is really like a season.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I won't say like love at first sight. I would say like vibe at first sight. Like it was just that vibe. He had that charismatic, just characteristic and that personality that just kind of drug you in.
Yeah.
When you saw him, and then he was just like, I don't know, just a completely different person than what I
Switched up.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to that, y'all. I'm telling you, you gotta go get this book. We're here with Kayla Smith, the author of Turned Out, and she is telling her story tonight. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Let's keep it going. You picked a really interesting name for this guy, Wolf.
Yeah.
Why Wolf?
Well, one, I felt just personally when I was writing my book, the only person I wanted to expose in my book was me. And I didn't feel like it was anybody else's fault or choices but my own. So I didn't want to put anybody else in a situation to where it could potentially harm or hurt them, regardless of what they did to me or what I felt like they did to me.
So you stuck to the street code.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just, stood to what I was, taught, and it just was what it was, That's just me. I don't feel like, what my business is my business. They know who they are.
Right.
I
got you.
People who are around me knew who that person is.
Mm-hmm.
The name came from the emotion, how he made me feel like a wolf. Like,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, like a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Oh.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
So.
another way to spin it. All right. So let's fast forward. You have moved and everything is going good. And Wolf came out.
Yeah.
That's when Wolf came out.
Right.
Because it wasn't everything that he had been saying in the DM.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
So during that time, I read and you guys had started to have these arguments and things like that, and your girls, they were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what was that like, being so far away from home, being just with this person that you left trusting your life with, basically,
Right.
and your children, So what was it like? Did you feel like you couldn't just express yourself the way you wanted to, or you felt obligated to do whatever he asked you to do?
Yeah, in those situations, you're pretty much alienated. You're pretty much a ghost. Like, my family told me I pretty much disappeared. Like,
Wow.
when I got with him, I couldn't use my phone. I didn't text my family. I couldn't call my family.
He told you?
Oh, he took my phone.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was really like a controlling type relationship from the time I got to Houston. It was a whole different situation.
As soon as you guys got
Yeah.
there.
Like, yeah.
It wasn't anything like the DM.
Right, no.
That's crazy.
And it was more so at first like, well, I'm just going to take it to kind of just ease the situation. So if anybody has questions, I can kind of talk it over with them or whatever.
Mhm.
But it was actually that he was responding as if he was me telling them I was okay, and I really wasn't.
Oh, so he had taken control of your phone and
Right.
everything.
Yeah, like talking to my family, my friends, just pretty much alienated me and my whole situation.
Wow, that is crazy. And you were with him for a while. There was a part in the book, just shortly after that, where you came into the room and you saw him, or you came home one day and he was packing all of your things and
Mhm.
said that you panicked. And I was like, why is she panicking? She should be happy. But you weren't. Why was that?
I don't know, moving in a rational situation, just moved here and I'm going through what I'm going through, like, why are you packing my stuff now? And I'm seeing the bits and pieces that I'm seeing, you know, what do you do, you know?
Right, because I mean, at this time, when you came in and he was packing your things, he had introduced you to the strip club, right?
Right.
So that was something you had never done. You're a veteran.
Right.
So you were probably, I mean.
So I won't lie. I did go to the strip club, and I'll tell you, a white girl strip club and a black girl strip club are way different different things. So
wait, what is the difference? I guess it's not a.
Okay, so like a gentleman's club and a strip club are two completely different things. Does that make sense?
I guess so.
So, I mean, you know, you have twerking and a
ballet
strip club. No. You have twerking in a strip club.
Okay.
And a gentleman's club, you just pretty much stand there. Like literally in Houston, all I had to do was stand on the stage and.
So you worked at a gentleman's club?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a whole different ball game. Like, and they had back rooms that was their money maker. I would literally just stand on stage, somebody would throw some money at you and I'd get off stage when it was done, and that was it. Like, you didn't even have to like dance.
So at what point did he start taking your money?
From the jump.
From day one?
Mm-hmm. From the jump. From the time I was entered into the strip club.
So, with everything that had already happened, you being so far away from everybody, and did you feel an obligation to do that because he had done something for you? Like, did you feel like he had rescued you, or?
Yeah, I kind of felt like it was all or nothing at that point, you know, like.
Really?
I didn't have my phone, I couldn't contact my family,
Were you afraid?
What am I gonna do? That he knows where I live, he knows where my family lives.
So you were afraid?
You know, yeah, what do you do, you know?
At this point, had you met any of the other girls? I know that, I think halfway through the first part, you met a couple of girls. And
Yeah,
you guys
I
went
met
out
Sydney
on
and
an interesting night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, about that night, how was that? Like, even the introduction, it wasn't friendly.
No.
From the book, I felt the animosity in the pages. I was just kind of like, I don't know what the hell I would have. I mean,
so it's really weird because, like, when the men are not involved, the women get along, but when the men are involved, the women hate each other. Which, I mean, of
so
course,
was he playing you guys against each other?
Yes, absolutely. And when I met the girls, I'm actually still cool with them to this day. Like, I still speak to them. We
Really?
still communicate.
Are they still involved in the life?
One of them is, one of them isn't. One's trying to get out.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard. It's a struggle once you've been in there for a while.
Right.
So you just gotta have the right resources and, you know, have the right heart, really.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot going on in the book. I have skipped along because Wolf has disappeared.
Yes.
And at this point, you had come home.
Mm-hmm.
And you were trying to make it. You had gotten a job, I think, as an apartment manager, and you were still trying to get settled because you actually brought your girls back to Arkansas, and then you left again. You left it with relatives.
Right.
So when you and Wolf dissolved that situation, I think, did he go to jail?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what broke y'all up.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you came back trying to figure it out, start over, and along came Major.
Okay, yeah. So
And I was like, now wait a minute. I thought you was about to really go through the struggle, you know? And I was like, wait now, Major sound like he with the shit.
Okay, so just to kind of piggyback on that a little bit, like, my family gave me really, really tough love during that time. So when I was an apartment manager, like, I was homeless. Like, I was sneaking into apartments, you know, after hours to take a shower and wash myself off.
I thought that was pretty smart. When I read that, no, it's in the book, and I read that and I was like, well, shit, that's pretty smart. I mean, you work there, you have the keys,
right?
You know, so I mean, why would you go sleep under a tree,
right?
You know.
And I was lucky enough to have a mentor who was my boss, who actually let me clean the apartments as well once people moved out of them or was fixing to move into them. So it was like extra cash. So I was really actually trying.
Yeah.
And in my story, you know, I tell you my mom brought my kids over trying to show them that I was here and I was trying to do the right thing. And my family found out and everything went left.
Yeah.
So, I just kind of got in this rut again, like, dang, you know, I
Do you
can't see
think
my
that-
kids. I felt like I was working hard and,
The money wasn't fast enough.
right.
Do you think that it was just kind of like a burden, just kind of depressing, like you just felt like nothing is never enough. What else do I need
Right.
to do?
I felt like I was drowned in and I still had my head above water. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you're still paddling, but you're still drowning at the same time. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, that part, I was just like, wow, you know, I didn't know what to expect after that, and then along comes Major. But Major came with an old friend that made the introduction.
Yes.
So how was that? I mean, like, this is somebody that you knew through Wolf, right?
Right.
And so, boom, did you feel like because of your current situation, it was like, this is destiny, this is how I'm going to
I
be
kind of felt like
comfortable?
I would just be comfortable in that situation because one, I knew his brother and I felt like he would make sure I was safe. And two, yes, because of her, you know,
Right.
She had taught me, you know, the ins and outs of what I needed to know from the beginning. So it was like, why not be with somebody that I'm comfortable with, that I can make money with and be safe, you know, in the least.
But see, this is the confusing part for me when it all came back around, and I get like the situation that you were in, it was a tough one, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like you hated that life.
Mm-hmm.
You knew what it was about, you know, no control at all. And to meet him through someone where you said you knew his brother, but you know, sometimes brothers and sisters, brothers are day and night.
Yes.
You know, so
definitely.
you know, with that situation, and he sounded like he didn't play that shit
Yeah, no.
at all.
Right.
And it was just interesting, like how it all started. It was just I can almost call it casual because you guys were hanging out, and then. But I guess when you get in the car with somebody, you kind of know what that ride is gonna be
Okay,
like.
well, so we got in the car, like, the first day I met him.
Right.
She was like, come meet, you know, Daddy. That was his name to her. So, you know, that's what she called him. And she was like, come meet Daddy. I gotta go, you know, run a trick or run a play or whatever. And so I hopped in the car with her, and we went in, or she went in, and I texted her, and I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Will he let me come in? Because we were sitting in the parking lot just waiting.
Oh, I read it, honey. I read what happened, honey. Go ahead.
So I went into the bathroom, and he was like, well, can I have both of you? And I was like, well, you know, I'm here. And it was cash, you know, why not take it?
But it wasn't yours.
Because
I read what she said. She said, you know that's not your money.
Right, but I gave it to him when I got in the car.
I know. I read it. And you guys can read it too.
Right.
I'm telling you, this book, it was a page turner because I was like, wait now.
Right.
Wait.
So
Kayla.
I didn't know what would happen if I didn't give it to him. I think that was the fear in the car, you know.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, what do? You know what he is.
I'll give you that because of the previous situation.
Right.
And you knew what it was like. And I'm sure you had met other girls who were in those situations that had similar stories.
Right.
So I get it. I'm going to fast forward from the introduction because there was a time in the book where you decided, I got to get away. I got to get away. But you came up with a plan, but I would have been scared as hell to try this. I'm talking about when you ran into Deshaun
Yes.
and the laces and this $8,500 that you stole. I said, see, this girl right here ain't scared of nothing.
Oh my
But you was
God.
smart though because you heard him talking on the phone and
I
he was
did.
trying to sell you.
He was.
And I was like,
To a
ooh,
rapper.
To a rapper?
Yes, to a rapper. Yes.
Do you know which rapper?
I do.
Okay.
I will not say a name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
So you got away
Uh-huh.
and Major is back. And he wasn't that friendly. He wasn't that nice to you after that.
No. No.
He wasn't very nice to you. So what made you stick around?
My loyalty. I wanted to show him that, he kept telling me he was gonna try to get my kids, try to help me get my kids.
And you spoke a lot about that. It seems to me like Major. It seems like you had a lot more respect for him and respected him more than you did Wolf. And
he treated us way different.
It seemed like he was on a different level in the game.
Yes.
From the book.
Absolutely.
So it was like, because you had a BMW.
Yeah.
And you had more freedom. You didn't have anybody.
I had a Jag, a Benz.
Yeah.
BMW.
You didn't have anybody. Because Wolf was more like a gorilla pimp or like a poor pimp.
Yeah.
Is that what they call
him?
Yeah.
Gorilla. Yeah.
I'm just saying he was mean.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as he didn't waste any in the book, the way that you described him, at first it was like.
It was like cake and icing, and then
it was a gorilla.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was scary. Yeah. So, all right, let's get back on it because Major Ain't No Saints. I read a part in the book where you were missing or gone for too long or something about your phone, but he ended up attacking you in a hotel room.
Yeah.
And telling you to get out.
Right.
He didn't want to see you anymore.
Yeah.
And all of that. So in that moment, I mean, was that the first time he had ever put his hands on you?
No.
Oh.
No. That was
because that was pretty bad in the book, and I think that's the only time you ever spoke about.
So that was like the worst that we had ever been through. Like, I'll say, even though I wasn't his bottom, his main girl, me and him had a different relationship than everybody else. Like, our connection, like, I still talk to him to this day.
Really?
Yes. I know that's weird, but
yeah, because I'm like, why?
He's not in the life anymore.
Okay.
To my knowledge.
Okay.
He's not. And I don't really associate myself with him like that, but his mom passed away and she was a really big part of our relationship as well, and so I know what she meant to him, so I just feel like I'm obligated in my heart to really just check on him and his brother. It's more so that kind of relationship.
Well, you said you already knew his family prior to this
the whole
working situation.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it that.
It was like a situation, relationship, I guess, whatever. But so yeah, when we had that situation, it was probably the worst one that we had been through. And when it happened, the guy had been following me. Like, I was staying in one hotel and working out of another.
Figure out who that was?
No.
Because I thought I knew you weren't gonna die because I met you after the book came out. But I just knew that you were gonna get kidnapped. I just knew it was gonna be some real wicked shit that was about to go down. And I was like, it's never ending. What is happening? Why?
So, like, of course, I left a little bit out of my book because it's so much, So I went through a lot more than what I actually put in my book, of course. But I just put, like, the pinpoints, like, what actually made me move, Those, everlasting memories that I will never forget. They're forever engraved in my brain, in my mind. And even though, like, it happened, I take full responsibility for my decisions because I did it ultimately,
Right. I mean, at some point, you definitely decided that this is what I'm going to do, because even going back to when you were squatting at the apartment complex you worked at, I mean, you could have easily gotten another job, you know what I'm saying, to supplement your income, but you just thought another way, a way that you had already experienced, and knowing what that lifestyle was, it was like, at that point, you made a choice.
It was like that, but, like, the cash was, like, so fast. Like, it was
bet.
so easy, so fast. And
street life is fast.
And I know people be like, oh, my God, you gotta have sex to do this and that. It was not like, I did not have sex with every person.
Okay, because that took me to Paul. Let's transition to Paul.
Yes.
Because I was like, he's like a godsend.
Yeah.
So, do you still keep in touch with him?
I haven't. Something happened to him. He got sick, and ever since then, like, his memory is not the same. So I haven't.
That's unfortunate.
Right.
But he was a very, I would say, a very important part of your life at that point, because to me, he was like your way out.
Yeah.
He was the person who was like, well, he wanted to be your man.
Right.
And he was like, nah.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was a really good friend. And
Right.
he seemed to be there to support you, and everything that you wrote in the book was just, I mean, it was all positive
Right.
about him. So, at any point, did you ever consider being with him? Just like, forget it. This has to be better than.
Only out of rebellion. Only out of, I know he's gonna take care of me. I know he has money.
Right.
You know, I know I can have whatever I want.
You can probably help you get your kids.
Yeah.
You know, stability,
Right.
security.
Yeah, but at the same time, he was so far away from my kids that I couldn't even put him through that. Because I already knew how I was going to act. Like, even though you're financially stable and you can afford to do that for me, we started our relationship here where you were paying me $2,500 a night. You know what I'm saying? How are you going to afford me when I'm living with you? You see what I'm saying? How can you
So you would have
transition
kept the
that
price
relationship?
tag on it.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I
like,
get what you're saying.
how
Because
can
that's how
you
you met.
transition that relationship to something else? And that was something that, you know, we could never agree upon, was because I didn't want that from him. Like, he wanted to take care of me, but I didn't want that from him.
Right.
Because I just knew there was more to it, you know? And I didn't want...
Major had a problem with him.
Yes.
Eventually, because you started spending a lot of time with him.
I did.
He started to send you off. How was it being in those cities, doing what you were doing? I mean, that left you in a very vulnerable place as a woman. I mean, you were going out there by yourself. And we're not talking about country towns around here. We're talking about Miami. Yeah, like in Houston. He sent you back to Houston.
Beach. Yeah, I went back to Houston.
And that was crazy.
Yeah, so we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
So, actually, he sent me to Beaumont, which was like one of my honey holes. I had a guy out there that as soon as I posted, he was on my phone, and he would want me the whole time I was there.
Is that the guy you thought was following you?
No.
Because it was a Mustang
No,
or something, right?
that was in Florida. We were talking about Beaumont before then.
Okay, because I was like, okay, that's really, really weird. Like,
Yeah.
I would be freaked out. And you didn't say anything to anybody. You just kept watching.
I did, because, I mean, it could have been another pimp. Like, what do I keep telling him about? You know what I'm saying? Then he's gonna be like, well, why are you watching him? Like, why are you looking at him? Then it's gonna be even worse. You get what I'm saying?
I don't get it, honey. See, I would have been scared as hell. Like, look, quit following me. You know, I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it's a whole different ball game. Like, you can't look up, you can't look men in the eyes, especially not black men, when you have a pimp. And you're a white girl.
Rules.
Yeah, there's lots of rules.
I wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
They would kick me off the team. They would say, you got to go.
Yeah, it was
You got to go. Girl, you made me put my glasses on. This is, okay, let's get to.
We were going to talk about my Houston experience and the $8,500 situation.
Yeah, with
running
Deshaun.
away and...
Back to that. And then wasn't it a friend that introduced you to them, or was it you met him because you posted?
Okay, so I met him through a friend.
Yeah.
So, the rapper that tried to buy me actually was my friend's pimp. And I didn't know. She didn't tell me.
So many secrets.
Right, yeah.
You really gotta be on it in these streets, honey. These streets don't play. You gotta be on it. My goodness, okay.
So, that whole situation went down. I was in Beaumont, and I ended up leaving and going with her. And we went to Houston, and I went with that guy, the rapper. And I was staying the night at his house or whatever, and he was like, you know, I'll send you. What he told me initially was he'll send me home the next day so I could visit. And I was like, cool, I'm gonna take a shower. And
that's when you heard the phone call.
Yeah. So
I know you glad you nosy.
Right, I am. Okay, so like, what idiot shows you $8,500 in your glove box and you've never met this person before? Like, you obviously are stunned. You know what I'm saying? And in the life I was living in the streets,
so let me ask you
you
something.
deserve that.
What made you? Whoa, well, if that's how you feel, I'm saying this though. You had the $8,500. You had the car, everything.
Right.
Why didn't you come home?
I didn't have my ID.
You didn't have your ID.
How did I get home?
Drive.
I didn't have a car.
You couldn't drive a Lexus?
I was gonna steal his Lexus?
You had stole his money?
That's okay. That's
Baby, I
drug
would've went
money.
I would have went
You
for
gonna call in your
I
$8,500?
know.
You gonna call in your $8,500 drug money, or you gonna call in your Lexus that's missing?
Well, that's true. Okay.
Okay.
I get what you're saying. But at the same time, you could have drove the Lexus to the bus station or the airport. You had 8,500.
I didn't have an ID. How can I get on the airport? How can I get on the airplane?
It's too many.
Right. I couldn't get on a bus. I mean, a taxi gonna drive me all the way? I don't know about all
That would have
that.
been your whole 85. Okay, let's talk about when you were out walking on the sidewalk. I forgot what city you were in, but you ended up meeting a girl named Michelle just by.
I was in New Orleans.
In New Orleans, okay, because
no.
everybody is extra friendly there. No, but that's a crazy story. You guys were walking side by side on the sidewalk and ended up at the same hotel and ended up in the same prostitution sting.
Yes.
So how was that? Like, was this your first time getting busted?
Yes.
So how was that? Did you like freak out?
No, I really thought it was like I was in a movie. Like I was staged.
A movie?
Yes. I watched so much Law and Order, girl.
It's a movie.
I thought I was like, literally, I really thought I was like on a Law and Order TV show. Like, it was played out so well. Like, I swear, he like halfway undressed me. Like, my breast was showing. He drank a beer with me
They
at the
can
bar.
do that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Supposedly. Like, I'm so serious. He had a drink with me at the bar. Like, we had a whole conversation. Went up to the room. He halfway undressed me after I went to the bathroom, and then they came in. And I was like, what?
And
like,
that's when you saw your friend from the sidewalk.
right. And I knew something was wrong because I've never went into a room that had a double adjoining door.
Oh, because the girl was on the other side. Is
Right.
that where they were arresting everybody?
Right.
Oh gosh.
So that's how they maneuver. And I had never went into a room. Anytime I saw a double door, I would always double back around. But I wasn't thinking because he had had a drink with me. You know, we had had intimate conversation about what was going to happen, what we were doing.
So you were comfortable
Yeah.
at that point.
Right.
All right, so you go to jail in New Orleans. I bet that was really crazy. Shout out to New Orleans. You know I love y'all. But what was the wait like? Because Major had to come get you, and you couldn't call him.
No.
So it was kind of like a waiting game.
Yeah, so I definitely didn't know what was gonna happen. I was like, okay. They at first tried to get me to flip on my dude, and I initially told them, you know, I don't have one, whatever. So when they took my phone, they found out I did, but I still denied it.
Like they had your work phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I still denied it. And then they tried to, they found another number in my phone that had texted me when they had my phone that was a pimp that had replied to my post trying to get me to meet him. And so they told me that if I got him to meet them, that they would let me free. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, he's not, I don't have anything to do with this.
Right.
You know? And they were like, well, we're just trying to get underage girls. And I was like, well, I'm not underage. You know, you have an ID, so.
So you had your ID then?
Yeah.
Girl, I wish you would have had that ID with the 8,500, honey.
Right.
Well, okay, so how long did you end up staying in jail before they figured out where you
Literally
were?
like a couple days. It was like 3 days.
3
But
days?
I had like no toothbrush. I couldn't go to the bathroom. Like, it was so nasty.
I can
There was
only
no toilet
imagine.
paper. You literally had to like, yeah,
Whew.
stand up to sleep. Seriously. It was
Wow.
like,
He wasn't really happy about that. And
no.
it was Valentine's Day,
Yes.
if I recall. Is that right in the
Yes.
book? And
I was sitting at the bar with a R&B recording artist.
wow.
And I took this call and walked away and went to stinking casino.
Wow. So you were on Canal. I know New Orleans, that's my city, honey. Horror.
Yes.
So you done got busted in the horror.
I can't
My
go back.
goodness. I
As much
wouldn't
as
wanna
I
go
want
back.
to.
I wouldn't want to go back. So
I have to gamble.
it was it was a gamble because Major came and got you, and
Yeah.
he was like, "It's time to go to work now."
Right.
So like with you guys having the history that you had, I guess when it's time to get that money, that all goes out of the window clearly with him
Right.
because he didn't. I mean, did he?
Yeah.
I'm not being funny, Kayla, but you just told me you didn't have a toothbrush.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
So, I
I mean, of course, he was like, we're gonna get your stuff and go to the room, but after that, that was it.
No rest for the weary.
Oh no.
You had to sleep standing up. What the hell?
Oh yeah.
Boy, he had no respect.
Yeah, no.
That was rough.
You don't get respect, and
I gathered
you gotta
that.
understand. He spent more money to get me out of jail than I made while I was there, because I was only there a couple hours and was in
Wait
jail.
a minute. Okay, I understand that, but over time, as long as you have been knowing
Not in
him,
that situation.
I'm sure you had. So they don't count for nothing.
It was just me and him in New Orleans. So you have to understand the frustration. I get it. Me and him have had this conversation.
I'm just gonna go to the next thing, because you went to Panama City and you were alone again. And what was the comfort level at this point? I mean, you had gone to jail. Were you a little bit more paranoid with the guys you were meeting?
Yeah.
Right.
Panama City was a little different though, because I had been there so much that I just had regulars. So, and it was such a broad area of like military men, and I know that's probably terrible to say, but they pay women,
Right.
and they like the strip clubs and all that down there. And there
So
was
you were
like,
still dancing sometimes?
no, I would actually go to the strip club and get men. Like go in and
just-
have drinks and tip girls, and men would sit down and have conversations with me, and I would end up getting their number, and we,
Hooked up.
right.
Okay. So at this point, you were a real professional.
Yeah, at that point.
Yeah, no, I mean, if
Right.
you knew how to go out and because at first you wasn't rocking like that. The other girls was like, "Look, bitch, you
But
gotta
I
get your shit
wasn't.
together. We
I
gotta get
wasn't
this money."
working at the strip club. I was having a drink at the strip club. The girls were dancing. I was in my regular clothes.
Baby, you were working the
I
crowd.
was, working the crowd. Yeah,
Right.
like I wasn't. Yeah.
That's just my headphones, honey. Because y'all gotta get this book. This is Kayla Smith, and she shared her story. Turned out we're gonna get to the part where I want to get to the part where you're like, you know what, I'm done with all of this.
Right.
You had come back to Arkansas. You were just fed up. This is where Paul really stepped in and stepped up.
Mhm.
You reached out to him because you were like, I'm just over all of it. I've got to
Right.
get my shit together.
Mhm.
And you definitely did that. But it wasn't easy.
No.
And this time you decided to take that hard route. It was hard. I mean, I couldn't imagine. You said the VA helped you
Mhm.
because you are a veteran,
Right.
but you had to check into a homeless shelter.
Mhm.
And how was that? I mean, I'm sure that was just a whole nother other level of just madness, because did you leave your stuff? Could you put anything down?
Right,
Could you know
yeah.
what I mean?
So, in the VA, they have like different floors, like in the hospital with different sections, and they're like locked off, and you have to have like a badge to get in, and certain things like that. And they have like different floors for like Alcohol Anonymous and NAA and homeless and stuff like that. So I was in their homeless facility, and I was one of the only females on their facility. And so I had a room to myself.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, so I had a room to myself, which was good, but it took me a little bit to kind of get used to it, because they would come in at all hours of the night and check on you. So, like, I would just be sitting up like this, and they just come through the door.
They didn't knock?
No.
I wouldn't like that either.
Well, they would expect you to be asleep, of course,
Yeah, but everybody don't sleep.
Right, but it's a hospital, so.
Right. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So how long were you there?
I was supposed to be there 90 days. I was there 110.
Yeah, I read that you had become dependent on them because it was a safe place for you.
Uh-huh.
You weren't on the street. You didn't have to watch your back. You could just kind of like
Right.
think and
Right.
figure things out. And I believe I read that you took some classes
Mhm.
or they helped you get employment
Right.
and different things like that, because at this point you were like, I gotta do whatever I gotta do to get my kids,
Right.
because your aunt was tripping.
Mhm.
I was just like, oh my God, come
Right.
on, give her a break, But I mean, I could see it from both sides
Yeah.
at the same time. But at the end of the day, if a person is actually ready to turn things around,
Mhm.
you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
That's just me. That's how I felt about that. when I read that, and my heart went out to you on that section because I couldn't even imagine, and then you would go and you would see your girls, like the birthday, girl shed a tear on the birthday when the baby
Right.
did, it was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard, and your aunt, she's like tripping,
Right.
and that part was really hard to read.
Right.
But I mean, those are some real true facts because you had chosen to do some things that they didn't feel was acceptable,
Right.
and that was something that you had to prove yourself all over again. Like,
Yeah.
look, I'm legit. You know what I'm saying? And when people love kids, when kids are involved, that's a different kind of love.
Right.
That's a love that's hard to let go.
Right.
And I think that's
something that I just can't handle. Like, that's a part of me. Like, how do I let go of that?
You're a mother. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. That's forever.
I don't get how people do it. Like, I just feel like everybody be like, oh my God, you're so strong. Like, dude, I just did the right thing.
You got yourself together.
I did the right thing.
You definitely did. Like, going through those court proceedings and, hearing them, it was like literally, I don't want to say your entire family, but you did not have a lot of support from your family in court.
It was my entire family.
Against you.
Yeah, except for my mom.
Yeah. And I couldn't imagine, I mean, like, a courtroom divided, but we're all related.
Yeah.
So how was that, like, was it at the end of the day, after each session, what was your feeling towards that? Because you never gave up.
So it was really emotional, having all of us in one courtroom at once, and we're fighting and going back and forth, and your past is being brought up, and you have to relive this and relive that, and explain you didn't do this, and you didn't harm your kids, and they were just put in a situation that was harmful, and it's really hard to, break that barrier, because these are the people you love and you loved all your life and care about, and they're telling you how bad of a mom you are and how you can't do this, and how as a single parent you can't financially support them.
Do you think it was more disappointment from their side as to why they were going so hard, or do you think that it was like, you guys can't see past this, see me now? Were they kind of stuck on that? Or, I mean, because like you said, you've known them all your life, so they should know you as a person, and not, and look at it as something that you went through and not who you are like that.
So I've always been like the black sheep of my family.
So you've always been a trip.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean,
that's why it was so hard.
Right. It was. It definitely was. And my family's always shown me support. So for them to turn their back, or what I felt like was turning their back on me, it was really, really hard. But I get where they were coming from. Like, they were ultimately doing it for my kids.
They were protecting them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
they didn't want me to put them through that again. They didn't want to see another man put them through that,
Right.
They didn't want them to
and
be
where was
exposed
their
to
father in all of this?
He's on his rights away.
Wow. Did you put that in the book?
We both did. Like, we both signed temporary custody over
to your
my aunt and uncle.
Yeah, I don't think I recall hearing about him anymore in the book. I didn't know that he did that.
Yeah.
So
he didn't even invite for him.
So he still is not around.
He comes around. I don't keep him from them. If he wants to see him, he can see him.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. They're his dad. I can't stop that.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a relationship, but
right.
Yeah.
They should know their dad.
Right.
Okay. Was he a military guy too?
No.
No? All right. So I've already talked about Paul, and we've talked about the counselors. And let's just talk about now, where Kayla is now.
Ooh.
You got past all of that, which I want to commend you on that, because, some people would have folded a long time ago. It would have been too hard, but you didn't. And you kept fighting to get your life back, to get your kids, and to take control. Girl, wait a minute, I got to hit you with the hustle and flow. I'm in charge. Right. Just on some I'm in charge type shit, and that's good. So what are you doing these days?
So I am still a property manager.
Okay.
Dropped my book September 1st. I just bought a house.
See?
Yes. So, that's it. Pretty much just being a mom and working, and
So do you, okay, I met you at a speaking engagement. Are you available for speaking engagements?
Yes. So, actually, I work for another nonprofit organization, which is called On the Edge.
Okay.
And I'll have to send you the information so you can send it out.
Tell our viewers about it.
Well, I haven't got like into the deep part of it yet, so
Okay.
I'm still going through like the whole orientation process, and everything's online. But what they pretty ultimately do is take nonprofit organizations and orchestrate events for them to get money.
Okay.
So,
Fundraisers.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So
Sounds good. And with the whole thing, human trafficking is a very big deal now in this day and age, and it has been for a while. What people
Right.
don't know, but it's more relevant. People are talking about it more because more and more, especially really young girls, are
right.
going missing off the streets. So, is there anything that you want to tell any young women out there? I mean, because you've been followed, it started in the DM, and
Right.
everybody's on social media. I mean, is there any type of advice you can give
Right.
young women who are in vulnerable situations, who need somebody to lean on and open up to?
I would mainly just say, trust your gut with anybody you deal with. You can tell bits and pieces if they're lying, if they're not. Definitely don't up and move.
Don't up and move.
Definitely don't up and move for someone you just met. Take your time to get to know people and what their true intentions are for you and for themselves. Because they don't ultimately just hurt you, they hurt everyone else around you. It affects everyone. It's like a trifecta.
Domino effect.
Right.
I got you. Well, Kayla, I want to thank you for joining me today, sharing your story, allowing me to pick your book apart. I told you I
thank
read
you
it.
so much.
And I did. Make sure you guys go check it out. Kayla Smith, author. The book is called Turned Out. Kayla, let them know where they can pick it up. She's out the trunk, but she's on Amazon and other Kindle, I think you said.
Yeah, on Kindle and Amazon, and then I'm in the Pine Bluff and Whitehall libraries, working on Little Rock and North Little Rock, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, make sure you stay on the lookout for her. She is out in the community doing her thing, and be careful in those DMs. We are out until next week's episode. Thank you for joining us.
Yay!
That was good.
I'm glad I can talk about it and not cry.
I know, right? You did great. How do I post this?
It takes a lot to talk about stuff like that and not cry. But I've kind of gone through it. Like, I've done my therapy and...
Yeah. Dang, we should have talked about that.